so I think sometimes we as Americans have to learn how to be more responsible and be more responsible for our own self.
Благослови моих братьев, благослови наши руки. Мы в поисках больших денег, мы в деле круглые сутки. Благослови
Pimped Out Radio Show, man, they everywhere.
Благослови моих братьев, благослови моих братьев, благослови наши руки. Мы в поисках больших денег, мы в деле круглые сутки. Благослови моих братьев, благослови моих братьев. Я скрутил себе потолще, я выдыхаю.
Best jam I have ever eaten.
Oh, wow.
I have that as a testimonial.
И не играй со мной свою роль. Со мной молодые братья. Мы возьмем котлеты наличных себе на завтрак. Сегодня-завтра, неважно как я. You, эй, yeah. Благослови моих братьев, благослови наши руки, мы в поисках больших.
Alright, y'all, tune in for another episode of Make That Radio Show. I am your host, Andreas, and I have my second interview this year that's actually in the new location. I have Miss Shakiyla, was it Parker? No?
Yes.
Okay, see, I'm sitting there trying to give you a name.
Parker.
Wait, I'll just, okay, so you can see yourself, right?
Yes.
Okay.
So do I need to face more this way or this way?
No, you good. I mean, we're having a conversation, you know, whenever you want to make a point, you just look directly at the camera.
Okay.
But yeah, so I wanted to have this interview. This is a not two-part, but a two-purpose interview. One, I like the post that you made on Facebook. What was that? About a week and a half ago, something like that.
Yes.
With the meme where you shared, what is it exactly? About people can go buy Jordans and stuff like that or whatever, and all these consumer type purchases, but they don't invest in their business, or they talking about it's too expensive to start a business, all that stuff, whatever. So I definitely want to talk on that, and I can harp on that all day long. But I also want everybody to know your business, and it has to deal with CPR training.
Yes.
So yeah, so let everybody know name of your business and primary function.
All right, so I have two businesses. The first one is Broken to Awaken Emergency Training, short BTA, Emergency Training. And what we do is basically, make sure that you know all your techniques to help save a life. I do CPR training one-on-one. I do group ones. I'll go to that location. I've done different groups from medical, all the way to a dance studio, and that was very fun to meet all those staff members. So we had a good time then, and I like to make it fun. I know people don't like to sit through a whole 2-hour lecture, right? So you have to make it fun. So I named all my mannequins and I call them my staff.
That's dope though. I like the fact that you're doing that because I went through CPR training about 1.5 years or almost 2 years ago, something like that. When I was at I went through this program with AmeriCorps, federal program. Basically, I was getting a stipend to help nonprofits and stuff do various tasks and stuff like that. But that was one of the things we had to learn CPR, and I didn't realize really learning about the depressions, also making sure that you can see that their airway is blocked or whatever, because some people might just be like in cardiac arrest or something like that. And what is it? I'm trying to remember. Was it the first thing they taught us was
always make sure the scene is safe.
Yeah,
you heard that multiple times.
Yes. Make sure to clear the scene and everything.
Yes.
And then that might go a little bit out of order or whatever, but I mean, there's like 5 different things. I'll tell someone to call for 911.
Yes.
See, it's starting to remember. And then you look at whether or not you can see them breathing.
Yes.
And then you use your fingers to tilt your head back a little bit or whatever. and start to, to breathe the breaths, 2 breaths or whatever, and then, start their resuscitation and stuff.
How many compressions?
What was it doing? Like 5 and then breathe again or something? Or I
30.
can't remember. Oh, it is 30.
30.
It is.
Almost 30 and 2.
Exactly. That's it, 30.
That's the teacher that came out of me.
Yeah. And then, let's see, you keep doing it though, like you don't stop or whatever, because you're actually helping pump the heart. So, see, I remember that.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. I try to make sure, everybody understands what they're doing, like the actual technique of it. If you are giving CPR training CPR training, but you are performing CPR on someone, you are helping breathe for that person, and you're helping blood to flow throughout that body. And I don't think people understand. They know the motion, but sometimes they don't understand or put 2 and 2 together as to what they're doing for this person. And I think that's important to understand why you're doing what you're doing. So I have that business, and like I said, I'm a trainer through American Heart Association. They're at the top. A lot of people won't even allow you to certify their people unless it's American Heart certified. So that's my first business, and then secondly, I have a financial business that I am currently growing and still maturing. Right now, I have my license to sell life insurance, but I'm also studying for my securities license to help people out with their financial needs, dealing with retirement funds. You got your 401ks, IRAs, annuities, mutual funds. I'm a big component of investing, and that's how we're going to get over inflation, but that's a whole nother conversation for another day.
Exactly. So let's go back to the post that you made, and what was the motivation behind the post?
Well, actually, it's so funny. Someone that I know in the business posted that, and when I saw it, it hit me. It was just like, you know what, that's so true. People rather spend money on luxury or things that entertains them instead of using it to help them to have financial freedom or to have freedom with their time. And that's what most of us really want, but afraid to pursue. So I just wanted to repost it to kind of bring awareness.
So what do you think is like keeps people from doing that? Because me personally or whatever, like so I grew up and everything, went to school and all that, but even throughout like middle school, high school, saw entrepreneurship as like a cool thing, even though I didn't really understand what it was at the time, and nor did I understand what I was doing, because like I would flip candy or whatever, right? Stuff like that. Fundraisers.
I did chips.
But I always like had this like hustler's mentality or whatever. And I'm trying to think like what really inspired that. I have to probably just do some heavy thinking one day. But I kept that with me, and I kept that throughout my high school career, even when I did retail jobs or whatever. I was like best one selling and all that, outselling the entire staff, and then changed my because I used to draw and all that as well.
All right.
So I was very artistic, and I was really good too. So I stopped doing that my high school year. I was like, you know what? I ain't gonna go to Milwaukee Institute of Art. I'm gonna go to Fort Valley, and do a concentration in marketing, business with a concentration in marketing. And when I arrived day one, declared my major and didn't waver in that. And every job that I had, I'm trying to be the best. But then really learning about entrepreneurship helped me really see what I was doing in previous retail experience and customer service experience and all that, whatever. And I was like, you know what, I can do this. I opened my first business before I even graduated, a whole year before I graduated.
All right.
I graduated in 2006. My first business I opened in 2005. But I always had like inkling I wanted to do that. So I never like looked at stuff as like a really consumer way. I've always looked at stuff pretty much like a business type of way. Where do you think that like whole consumer mindset like comes from?
It starts from day one, when people are going to public school. I think we're almost trained, and it's embedded in our minds to work a 9 to 5 and not to be entrepreneurs. I think that's how this country runs, with that mindset of people, hey, you work this 9 to 5 so I can take the taxes out, and that's how we're going to run this, right? So, and what we're seeing now is a lot of people are getting businesses. getting on their own, not working the 9 to 5, going against the grain, and it's kind of like, there's a shift happening. You know, I feel like there's more people getting businesses. You know, I'm pretty sure there's some people that are just doing some other things, they're just simply not working. But there are more entrepreneurs now than it was before, and I think people are seeing the possibility of it, especially with social media and internet now. It's just so many ways that you can put yourself out there or allow yourself to have a business. But I think it starts when you're little.
Yeah. Yeah, I definitely see where, like, and I've always studied like the trends, and that's what like business teaches you. It teaches you to watch the numbers and all that, and trends, and see what's coming, especially like for Black women, right? Highest growing entrepreneur rate, and starting businesses and being successful at it. And I think like COVID, like in this whole new generation of stuff, because it was something that wasn't, I don't think anyone lived through that experience where it was like a worldwide pandemic. I'm sure, well, I mean, it's been on record like Spanish flu and all that stuff, but no one's living since then. Those are just history records that we know. But COVID like really showed people that, one, you're disposable working a traditional 9 to 5, depending on the industry and all that. But then also companies are always going to have their best interests at heart anyway, regardless. And the way that, I saw them before I even like left the workforce, like traditional workforce. The way they was mismanaging 401ks and all that, and reading the studies about that, and like it was 50% of companies and all that. And that's the whole reason why we got like third party, being as like a buffer for that anyway. Because 40s and 50s and 60s or whatever, companies are mismanaging, then people trying to retire and they can't retire because there's no money.
And see, and that's my heartbeat.
Yeah.
That is strictly my passion, because my heart goes out to people not realizing that it's your responsibility to make sure you have money to retire.
Yeah.
And I think sometimes people have in their mind a number of where they're going to retire, but don't realize how they're going to do it. If you were to simply ask them, when do you plan on retiring? They'll give you an age number.
Yeah.
But then if you ask them, well, how are you going to do that? Then they start, a generic answer like Social Security. Well, what if that's not there?
Yeah, exactly. I can tell me, Social Security ain't gonna be there. Y'all keep on playing around.
Exactly. So I think sometimes we as Americans have to learn how to be more responsible and be more responsible for our own self, and I think that's something that we have to learn that's not always taught, right? Because I think we're learning more to be always reliant on government, instead of saying, hey, like, if I'm working, if this is my life, who's going to look out for it more than me, and my heart would just go out, because I just felt like a lot of people just do not know what they're going to do, and that just bothers me so much.
Do you think it's like more taboo for them to sit there and think about that type of stuff, or it's just out of sight, out of mind, and deal with it as it comes?
Yeah, I think it's more of an out of sight, out of mind thing, because I think most people don't even plan for the future. I think a lot of people live for the moment, and there's so many distractions that happen now. People are just so into entertainment. Going back to the post, people are so into entertainment now. It's just like, okay, what are you doing to make sure you have everything you need, or what are you doing to make sure you're putting money aside? Are you spending your paycheck? Are you living paycheck to paycheck? So it's just kind of like, what are we thinking about here? What are we doing? Because it is so easy to be distracted and not make sure that you have your priorities in order and keeping your eyes on the goal.
Yeah. So someone who's getting into financial products and tools and stuff like that, especially you said with retirement and whatever, what would be like some good, like, percentages? What I'll tell you what, like I tell some folks and what I do. Like, first of all, when I pay myself, whatever, I split it in about 5 different categories. So I got my household bills, whatever. I got my investment that I want to do. I got my businesses that do need cash and require those, because I have multiple businesses. And then I have like my own little personal spending I want to do, and I got my savings. So like I'm already splitting my money up or whatever. But and like a lot of people like might say it's like a little controversial or whatever. But I even tell people who work or whatever, pay yourself first.
Yes.
And I'm like, what do you need to pay yourself for? I gotta pay bills. I'm like, well, your bills are always gonna be there. Sorry. Even when you die, they're still there. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, so if you making like, you know, say if you netting $1,000 or whatever every paycheck, I'm like, what's 5-10% of that? That ain't nothing. I tell them that in the practicality of it is that, okay, so you got that $50 and $100 that you're saving up each paycheck or whatever, 6 months is gonna be bigger. A year is gonna be bigger. So when you do incur some type of unexpected expense, you have money there, as opposed to you spending all your money paying bills and stuff, and then like your discretionary income is pretty much zero, and you're living paycheck to paycheck. So then when it hits that same event, now you're in the hole even more. And I'm like,
and it happens because you can't predict that.
You can't.
So it's funny you say that, and I want to start off with this statistic before I answer. I'll never forget, I was watching some type of, you know, just like a insert, some type of video, and they were sharing a statistic. It was a guy, he was sharing some stuff, and he started, I love numbers, he was working with numbers. He said, you know, 80% of Americans live paycheck to paycheck. I was just like, I mean, just simply 80%, like, you don't have to be a math whiz to hear 80%, of course, coming out of 100 is a large, ridiculous number, right? So you got 80% that's living paycheck to paycheck. 15% started their own business or have a business, right? But it was in that generation. Then you have 5% of Americans that came from old money, that they've always had it. You know, it's like that wealth, right, entity. So, but at the very bottom, with that 80%, usually they only have one bank account. Going up in the percentile where the 20% is, they have more than one bank account because they have more than one check. You know what I mean?
No, I get it. I got more than one bank account. I'm sorry. It just is what it is. I like people look at my watch. Like, are you doing all those cards and stuff? I don't understand. First of all, keep all these stuff separate. But anyway,
just in case.
Those are, you know, advanced stuff or whatever. I'm like, you gotta get people to the basics first.
Yes.
Yeah. So, what has been your experience in, like, you know, talking with people and like getting them to, like, you know, transition over to, you know, being more financially astute? And like getting them to see that, hey, just like you work on, you know what I'm saying, and I'm gonna be simplistic or whatever, right?
Yes.
So just like how people work on a jump shot, or just how people work on like creating content or whatever, and they're exercising their brain and, you know, their skill set to do that, to get better. What can people do to, one, switch over to that mindset, but then also to keep practicing it to where they get better and better?
I think first it starts with a mindset to understand that this isn't for the rich, this is for you. I think sometimes people think that they can't do something dealing with investments or anything like that because they feel like they're not rich, or that's only for a certain, you know, a certain group of people. But no, you can start investing. You can, you know, even with a small amount. And when I do share information with people or share statistics with people, it's kind of like that, oh my goodness kind of factor. You know, they're just like, wow. But then after that, it's kind of like, well, I don't have it right now.
That's
but
a lot.
But you do have it.
You do.
You just need to say, yeah, you're exactly right. And a lot of time we're not seeing the difference between a want and a need.
Exactly.
So if you were to actually write down how you were saying about budgeting, if you were to write down where your money's going, like really, and people hate that word budget, right?
Yeah. They gotta get used to it though, because I'm like, that's how you really get ahead. And I'm not trying to cut you off and like that. But yeah, I see that a lot with folks, like they won't write down stuff, or because writing it down holds you accountable, and I don't think people want to be held accountable due to whatever it is in their brain. Maybe it seems like it's too intimidating process to do that or whatever, but I'm like, you gotta know where your money going. I mean, that's the only way you're going to make better, healthier financial decisions.
Yeah, but here's the thing: we want freedom, right? We want to live our best life, right? But we don't want the responsibility of it. I think we look at people on TV, on YouTube, on social media, and we see all the stuff that they have. And one time I taught a class, I said, hey, do you think rich people have a budget? And some people were like, you know, and I said, yes, they do.
They do.
But here's the thing. You don't think they do because their budget of how much they can spend, the margin is bigger than yours. That's why they have what they have. And they keep what they have.
Exactly.
But you're trying to play a role, you know, or spend above your means, and you end up with a whole bunch of debt. That's not how this works. Somewhere you have to start being, like you said, accountable to yourself and be responsible for yourself when it comes to how you spend your finances.
Okay, so let's put this in practical numbers, right?
Okay.
Was it the average American, or you know, across the board, makes between $30-something thousand? Let's just say between 30 and 35, right? So if someone is making between 35,000, now of course, depending on their status and all that, whatever taxes and all that, or whatever, it would, you know, lessen that. What would be a good threshold to live up under? Like, that's the ceiling, right? Because you don't want to go over the ceiling, because then you're, you know what I'm saying, you're living above your means. It would be a great ceiling for that.
Okay. Well, to me, again, everyone's household is different. Everyone's family size is different. So, but that being said, if they were to set aside, let's just say, if they were to set aside $500 a month, okay, if they can, right? Now, if they can't do that, you start small, right? If you can put aside $25, $50 here and there, and then once you feel like, oh my goodness, I didn't even miss that, add on to it, right? Because statistically it shows that if you were to put $500 into a money market account that yields you anywhere between 9% to 15%, you would be a millionaire in 30 years. Now, a lot of people don't always start young, right? So that they would have to put more in. But the thing is, you could still retire with a comfortable number, or depending on what your circumstance is, you can still put money aside and get to a great number for you to retire. But because people think they don't have it, or they're just looking at that large number and they're like, there's no way. But if you put it in the right place, your money will build investing. You know, it would have it would grow because of the investment on it. So.
Yeah, I agree with you with that. One, I've seen it been used, but then I'm like, you know, when you really start to understand the numbers, compound interest and all that stuff, and, you know, annual percentage rates, or even some of the compound, I would love stuff to compound daily, but hey, not there yet. Those accounts do exist. You can see it grow. And just like you say, even if you start with like $5, $10, $20, $25 or whatever, just continuously keep doing it and accept the grind. Of course, you know what I'm saying, it's like your slope, right? You're going to be sloping, you know, all of a sudden it's going to do like that.
Yes.
And that's that time frame or whatever. You're going to put it on like an access point or whatever. I'm like, it's the time that you're going to be able to make all that money. But then also, I'm like, I tell people, you know, there's 3 things in life that we always can count on: death, taxes, and retirement. So can't nobody escape all those.
That's
and
right.
Like, there's money associated with all 3 of them. Like, you got death, taxes, and all this stuff out here that people just not realizing.
Yeah.
But it's not as far-fetched, like you said, as it is. So.
And I'm quick to tell people like the numbers, and I've even showed people what have happened to me in my personal account when I was investing in a certain account back in 2017, because that's when I started investing.
Okay.
I started getting real curious about it because I had some debt trauma, right? Had some debt trauma in my past, and so then after that I was just like, I'm not doing this again. Like, I hate owing people. I'm gonna work for myself, and that was just always a mindset of mine. So what I did was I started investing money, and I started out with just $1,000. That's it. Just started with $1,000. Then every month I put in $50 every month. Within it was just for 4 years that I did it. And I wish now, you know how sometimes you wish you would kick yourself for the things you did. I was like, why didn't I just add more? Because those are one of those times where I could have added a lot more and I didn't, because I wanted to spend my money, right? But I almost received, just from interest, almost half of what I put in.
Not bad.
You see what I'm saying? Because I ended up, I want to say, with $5,600 in 4 years. And I put in, if I put in $50 a month, that's $600 a year. So then in totality, I put in what, $3,400. So they put in the rest. So they put in $2,200, and it's like, whoa.
Yeah, your money made money.
Exactly, and that's where I want people to get to. That you can get to your money making money.
Yeah, and I did that when I was working in Norfolk Southern. And I worked there for like 6.5 years. So after the first year, I was eligible for, 401k or whatever. But I know I wasn't gonna be there. So I used to invest, and I was investing aggressively at some times and stuff. But I ended up putting in around 6,000 something. Might have been like 6,500. Anyway, when I left or whatever, I had $19,000. But again, I had higher risk investments. I also had it at one point where my net value was less than what I had put in. It was during the recession, so 2008 or whatever, and now that whatever, everybody took a hit.
Yeah.
My account didn't take a hit until it actually affected the industry, the transportation industry, the railroad, and all that whatever. So, but I was still double money in because I know it was just a short-term thing.
Yes, people don't get that too. I love that you did that.
Well, I was like, the benefit of me still aggressively investing is the fact that I was buying stock at a cheaper price. So.
But people panic,
right? No, you gotta ride it out. You gotta ride the stock market out because historically, you make money all the time.
Yes.
You just gotta ride it out.
Yep.
And that's what I did. So when I left, whatever, like I said, I only put in about 6,500, and I left with 19. So I tripled, almost quadrupled my investment. And that's how I was able to pay my bills and start my entrepreneurship journey.
That's awesome. And that's for anybody out there that's watching. Like, this can happen to anybody. And it's just, you just start off small. And again, I think people are so intimidated by thousands of dollars or that number, and they're just like, no, ain't no way I can do that. But just imagine how much you're spending eating out every day.
Yeah, that and just the little things, whatever, picking up, snacks here and there or whatever, coffees every day. I'm like, come on, there's just so much. Like, people say I can't save or invest, if they're looking at it wrong. You can. You're just so used to the luxuries, and that's what you're paying for. You're paying for you're actually making all these other companies rich, and you're paying for the convenience. But if you can just cut out, like you said, what's a want and what's a need. Everything that you need to do, whatever, go ahead and do it. But then, all your wants, you can cut them down to bare minimums.
Yes.
And
just for a temporary, until you get to where you need to be.
Exactly. I'm like, you don't have to permanently do it, but once I learned how to live off of less, like, I don't go around, I don't buy shoes. I don't. I bought 2 pair of shoes maybe within the last year or whatever. I don't even buy clothes anymore. My wife buys them for me. No, for real. She has a subscription box. Like, when people see me dressed up with button-ups and everything, I do not buy any of that. Just gonna say, she got a subscription for it. That's what she bought for me for Christmas. So I've had it since then or whatever. So I'd rather, like, my money, and I tell people, I put my money into, like, with businesses, and I pay my bills and stuff like that. Once I pay the bills, got them all out the way, and like I said, I still pay myself. So, like, whether it be, like, I have investment accounts. I got the Robin's app is a great app. If y'all never used that app, I got that. I got an IRA. Actually, I got a couple IRAs. I needed to flip one of them into the self-employment one, where I can, you dump like 30 grand a year or whatever in it. But again, y'all can start smaller and work your way up.
Work your way up.
Because you make your money work for you. You don't want your money, you know what I'm saying? Because if anything happened to me or whatever, I'm good. You know what I'm saying? Family set and all that, whatever. I get life insurance policies. I got like 3 or 4 of those. So I got my terms. I got my whole life. So I'm like, and we like I don't have to worry about this stuff. You know what I'm saying? Like, I want more. There's more stuff I want to do and goals that I want to accomplish, but I'm not struggling.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I don't live paycheck to paycheck. And once you get out of there, like, not to say I've done it before, and I actually did it when I was working in Norfolk Southern. I was trying to keep it with the Joneses type of mentality. And I was like, man, I'm going to cut this out or whatever. I was like, nah, I can't do this no more.
I'm telling you.
And once you learn how to live off of less and you do something with the money and it starts working for you, you love that feeling. So then you want to do more of that. you know what I'm saying, have to worry about stuff, whatever. Once you take away financial worries, then I feel that your life changes to, okay, how are you goal oriented? Like, where are you going to leave a mark on society and all that?
Oh yeah.
And you really get to make better decisions.
What legacy are you going to leave, right? And understanding that $100 today is not going to be worth $100 in 5 years. We see that in just the inflation that has taken place already. You know, and it's just, if people realize that and understand that, then they would know that you can't work your way to wealth.
No.
You can't work your way into beating inflation. It's not going to happen.
Okay.
So somewhere you have to learn that investment is going to be your best bet in order to retire when you need to, and also to just make sure that you are okay, your family's okay. You know, you just got to come to that realization. It starts first with the mindset.
Hey, I would like to personally invite you to come on out to our sales and Jingle Bells. I will be one of the vendors there at the event. I am Yolanda and I am the owner of Blame My Canvas. I will have some artwork, some other personal items that you can purchase, in addition to handmade earrings, as you can see. But just get with me and let me know what you would like. We can get together, we can make something happen. Happy holidays, hope to see you soon.
Baba God brought us through 11 and life no be joke. I don't want to spend this season without you.
I do want people to know though, if they're interested in, you know, learning about first aid techniques and stuff like that, classes and all that. But then also, you know, you say you are accepting clients for the financial.
Yes, because right now
classes.
I can definitely I can teach about life insurance, and I can also sell life insurance plans. I just don't have my securities license yet, but like I said, I'll be up and running with that part next year.
Oh yeah, so yeah.
So it's it's in the making.
Yeah.
Trust me.
All right, so you know, just
Yeah.
let the folks know, so, you know, because when I air this and everything, the information is going to be included and all that stuff. So.
Okay. All right. So if anyone wants to be able to reach me, whether at BTA Emergency Training, that number is 478-227-2359. And I also have my financial business where I'm able to sell life insurance plans and also really just educate people. It's not that I'm trying to sell you on a whole bunch of things, but just really educating you and encourage you that you can make a way for your own financial plan. And I would teach you and set up a time for us to be able to go over your own finances so we can talk about that. But as far as investments, I will be doing that upcoming in the beginning of next year. So then I'll be finishing up with that. So.
Yeah, that's what's up. So y'all heard Ms. Parker, y'all gonna go out there and you're gonna support. You gonna get your financials did and everything, and then you're gonna make sure your heart's strong.
Okay. That's right. That's right.
But if y'all have not already, you know what I'm saying, make sure y'all download the Bank.Radio Show app. I think I'm up to 1,100 downloads now, so y'all be able to see all the different stuff on there. Keep tuning into the website and all that. Keep tuning into the Facebook page, social media, all that stuff. Bank.Radio Show. And there was one thing. Oh, and keep watching all these other different, not just my interviews, but you know, the platform interviews. You know, the In the Mix with Mel, and then all the other different shows that, you know, I've been putting out there, and that, you know, I've got other people intertwined with. But thank you, Mel.
You're welcome.
I've
Thank
enjoyed
you.
the conversation, and you know, we have to pick this back up again and, like, you know, do a part 2.
Yes. Oh, I'm ready. Just let me know.
Bank.Radio Show, man, they everywhere.